As a child, did you ever visit a zoo or dream of one beyond your wildest imagination? Where you could take a tour of the savannas of Africa, a chance to meet creatures and learn about them that you never think you see up close in the wild. Creatures of the Arctic, mausoleums from the land down under, or the very beauty the wild has to offer. If anyone has ever had that dream in this audience, you're not alone, for there are two distinct places that open these gates to answer all your questions, and they lie within the city of San Diego, California. The San Diego Zoo and the San Diego Zoo Safari Park have always been in my mind for 7 years. And let me tell you, the things from that kingdom have left me speechless and happy. There's so many topics to discuss here, but I want to go over why you should visit these two zoos. If you ever visit them, you'll be surprised about their history, how they've managed to save species from near extinction, and how your visits will leave you with an experience worth mentioning to your kids and the kids to their grandparents as well. I noticed because from 2015 to 18, my sister and I have visited my grandparents when they used to live in California. They currently live in Austin, Texas, but back then, as I could say, they were great times. I want to dedicate this to my grandmother, who introduced you to these zoos. And if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have grown a love for them. And I do dream of going back to them one day. But other than that, I strongly encourage you to visit California, not for the zoos, but of the magnificent culture, the connections to nature, and the lovely beaches it has. So first up, let's begin with the history. It's kind of a biggie with these two because there's a lot to talk about, but I'll try to sum up their beginnings and their anniversaries. Around October 2nd, 1916, from what Wikipedia says, Dr. Harry M. Wegforth founded the Zoological Society of San Diego, formerly known as the Panama California Exposition, founded in 1915. Here's where the zoo grew, for after it was abandoned that same year before Wegforth revitalized it, it had exotic animals that were still there after the project was abandoned. But why did he decide to start the zoo there? Well, he heard a lion roar in the Panama Exposition. It inspired him to start a journey that still continues on today. From his own words, he said, "Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a zoo in San Diego? I believe I'll build one." That was why, for the centennial in 2016, a lion was made. A lion with multicolors. The very animal that inspired Wedgeford to create the San Diego Zoo. But now we have the San Diego Zoo out of the way. Let's talk about its counterparts, the Safari Park. Around 64, the San Diego Zoological Society became interested in developing what would become the Safari Park. It was only known as the Wild Animal Park. Originally proposed as a breeding facility for large animals like ungulates, basically large-hoofed animals, it began to lean onto being a zoo exhibiting animals in a natural environment rather than cages. And after so many delays, on May 10th, 1972, the zoo was open to the public. Hosting animals from the wilds of Africa and Asia, it is so far become the largest tourist destination and attraction in San Diego. And just recently, too, on May 10th, 2022, they celebrated their 50-year anniversary for their hard work and what it's led up to. So those are the histories of the zoos and their anniversaries. But what species have they managed to save? Well, here's a list of 2 of them that they managed to save. First to start off with is an iconic bird of California, the California condor. The largest land bird of North America. From what the Safari Park's history is told in the 80s, these condors were on the brink of extinction due to agricultural chemicals, poaching, lead poisoning, and habitat destruction. As a result, their numbers dwindled to only 22 in the wild, resulting in the government starting a conservation program to capture all individuals to save the species. And the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance received permission to commence the first captive propagation program for the condors, a breeding program that has so many rewards, as from what it says, thanks to their work and the Cavalry Condor Recovery Program, the population rose from 22 to 500, with half of them now free in the wild, soaring in the skies once again. But meanwhile, on the land, Arabian oryxes were another animal that they managed to save from extinction. From what the safari park says, originally found in the Arabian Peninsula and the Sinai Desert of Egypt, these oryxes were hunted to near extinction in the wild. In 1972, the first oryx arrived for Operation Oryx, a breeding program contempt with saving the oryxes. And thanks to the combined efforts from them and the San Diego Zoo, almost 400 were born at the park, with many being reintroduced to Oman and Jordan to revitalize their former wild ranges. But now imagine yourself being there, seeing all these wonders the zoos have to offer. You and your children will be amazed at what the zoos have to offer and how they impact you. First off, the safari park. One of its iconic attractions is the Africa Trams in its Africa Treks exhibit, guided tour rides that take you around its African plains. The San Diego Zoo Safari Park ensures you have a chance to learn more about the wildlife of Africa, giving you and your children a chance to learn more about what Africa has to offer and what this park simulates. I've been on that park tram 4 times, and it still hasn't gone away. Just the nostalgia, learning about these animals, and seeing them out grazing around the big lake. Once you get to the tram, the line, it looks like something out of a painting. But as with kids, they have an opportunity to learn a lot more through the San Diego Zoo's recent exhibit, the Wildlife Explorers Base Camp. According to a KPBS article, this exhibit, built on the former Children's Zoo, is targeted to teach children about the different environments of wildlife around the world. And this is before my time. This was before I ever was heard of it, and this is new to me. So I might have to visit it again just to see what it's all about. But from what Daniela Miller said, a mother of 4, she said that when she brought her children to the zoo, it gives them a place to get out their energy so they can be focused, want to stop and learn something. And it makes the learning fun, like they can see the squirrel monkeys right here. Though that's how you and your kids will be impacted. These are the very reasons I strongly encourage all of you to take a trip to San Diego and try out these zoos. One visit, and you'll be coming back amazed by the sheer spectacle again and again. Maybe this Christmas or next summer, I hope you decide to take a trip amongst one of these 2 amazing zoos. This speech really means something to me. Like I said, if it wasn't for my grandmother, I wouldn't have come to love the San Diego Zoos. I grew up with them so much around summer. And this paper right here, I made it not just for my love at the park, but how much it's impacted my life. I hope you all have the same desire to visit these zoos like I did years ago. You will not be sorely disappointed. You will be happy.